Bringing new life to old models is one of the most enjoyable parts about model railroading. Be it a decades-old building kit, an old freight car with a bit of charm, or in this case, an older Atlas S4 switcher. I rescued this stray kitten from the garage of one of my clients. I bought it off him with the intent to kitbash it into an Alta engine, but other more interesting plans took shape. Friend of the channel, Alan Fisher, wanted a Chessie locomotive to round out his collection, so I pitched the idea to restore and upgrade the model as it was. This Atlas model is a second-generation example made in China around 1999. It's engineered very similarly to the first-generation Roco model, which ran pretty well, but needed some extra details to finish it off. As many of my kit bashes begin, I called the Atlas parts department on the phone directly to order some replacement parts. If you need almost any part for any model they've produced in the last couple of decades, they usually have some lying around. Without them, the majority of the Alta fleet would have been nearly impossible to build. For this S4, we needed new handrails, a new horn, and after some inspection, a new motor. More on that later. The parts arrived in under a week and we set to work. As always, you want to mechanically sort out any of the models before doing any cosmetic improvements. This will avoid future frustration down the road. Someone before me had installed a Digitrax N-scale decoder into it, but after a quick test run, the decoder melted and took the top of the motor along with it. So, knowing that decoders regularly fail, I foolishly ordered the exact same replacement. Not a good idea. For reference, TCS makes a perfect drop-in replacement decoder specifically for this engine that has integral LED headlights right in it. Like most TCS decoders, they're very expensive, but do exactly the job you ask them to. So, I rewired the engine with a replacement Digitrax decoder and it seemed to run fine. With these older models, you must insulate the frame from the motor, so I used Kapton tape to achieve this under the motor and it worked perfectly. I disassembled and re-lubricated the trucks before painting since the model had a gunked-up drivetrain from sitting in a box for so long. Re-lube it with Labelle plastic-safe lubricant or similar. I also resoldered and replaced older wires on the trucks as needed to improve pickup. Next, the first replacement decoder went in, making sure to avoid shorts with the weight on the frame and such. This time around, I didn't install lights on the model, but they'll get added in later. I moved on to the fun part, painting and weathering. By scouring railroadpicturearchives.net, I found a great picture of sister locomotive Chessie 9009 in the 1970s. I used that for exceptionally good weathering reference. Lots of faded paint, plenty of soot streaking down the hood, and lots of oil leaking all over the walkway. Using a variety of model acrylics, I matched the yellow, blue, and vermilion paint, and then mixed faded-out versions of each to nail the look on the prototype photos. Primarily, I used these nylon bristle microbrushes you can buy for makeup on eBay in packs of 250. They can be cleaned out and reused for many years if you take good care of them. While the model was disassembled for the decoder install and repairs, I then weathered the frame completely and sealed it all with dull coat. I then sprayed the cab and long hood with dull coat to give acrylic paint tooth to attach to for weathering. You want to weather all of your models after an initial layer of flat coat so that you don't get the pooling of paint that happens when you try and paint on a glossy new model. This is a mistake a lot of modelers make and then get frustrated trying to weather their models. The soot streak from an idling 539T prime mover down the side of the hood looks especially nice. Also make sure to weather your radiator intakes with layers and layers of dark brown and black washes to make them look really realistic. I faded the blue, yellow, and vermilion by mixing in lighter versions of the same colors and adding cream white into the palette until I got the perfect fade. It was all sealed with dull coat and then reassembled for shipping. It went off to Alan and it ran fine for a bit before the second decoder blew up, so it was time to go back to the drawing board. The motor had fried and the decoder was toast and it felt really bad. Don't get discouraged by this though, it's all part of the kit bashing journey. Oftentimes these things won't work, but you can often work around the problems, repair them, or come up with a new solution. Alan sent me the model back for repair, and I ordered a new motor from Atlas Parts Supply, but they're down to their last few purple motors, so this one didn't have the necessary flywheels installed on them. I thought it would be easy to pop them off from the original motor. I was wrong. Trying various methods to pull the flywheels off the drive shaft failed spectacularly. It ripped the motor completely apart and snapped the drive shafts off right at the edges of the flywheels. Another setback, but I wasn't defeated yet. So I couldn't use the motor I'd ordered, but I had a backup plan. I was scouring eBay one evening looking for replacement motors when a listing popped up for an undecorated model for just $40. It was just a few bucks more expensive than the replacement motor I'd ordered. So I quickly sent a message to Alan, who had it shipped to me. The model arrived very nicely packed in custom foam, and I put it on the track. It was DCC equipped already! Someone had installed a TCS decoder inside it, but didn't realize that when they put it in the listing. So I not only got a great running new drivetrain, but I also got a $50 decoder for free. Elated, I set to work. Instead of disassembling this new engine, I decided to do something different. I took the old handrails off the undecorated model and the shell. I then masked off the entire running gear and painted it Chessie colors to match the old underframe. Next came weathering to match the original underframe, and all of that was sealed with dull coat. Finally, I programmed the TCS decoder to match the 9007 number and reassembled the model, and put new orange replacement handrails on the model I got from Atlas Parts. It now has directional lighting and smooth operation. 0 install time thanks to some luck. Thanks to the Atlas Parts department for helping me bring this and many other models of mine back to life. This is not a paid or a sponsored endorsement, just a very happy customer. Now this rescued Kitten will enjoy working on an East Coast railroad yard confidently for many years to come. It'll be working alongside Alan's Conrail SD45, a sentimental first locomotive I brought to life in another episode of The Joy of Kitbashing you can see here. If you enjoyed this episode of The Joy of Kitbashing, please join my Patreon to support me making videos like this. Thank you to all of my patrons for making this possible. This has been Interurban Era. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your comments.